Well, the half marathon is just far enough that if the preparation doesn't go well, or if you haven't got a plan in place, it can get really messy really quickly. And today I want to try and save you from that potential problem by offering you 6 practical strategies to help you have a more enjoyable half marathon. Let's check them out. The truth is that half marathon is such an enjoyable event. It's one that with a little bit of consistency, nearly everybody can get out there and do. Maybe not at a super fast pace, but at least to complete. But the first thing you want to have in place is a little bit of an idea of what is required to get out there and get it done. Now, ideally, this isn't your first ever race. If you've just joined the world of running and you've seen on the calendar a couple of weeks ahead that there's a half marathon taking place, I would encourage you to pump the brakes just a little bit and focus on getting a little more of a foundation under your feet before you sign up for an event like this. But what does a foundation to a half marathon actually look like? Well, ideally, you will have run a 5K race or maybe a 10K race in the past, or at least have got a consistent base of 2 to 3 days of running up your sleeves for a couple of months. Now, if you can have this basis, you can go into a training block of maybe 12 weeks for a half marathon with some level of confidence that your body is ready for the challenge. One of the first things that new runners struggle with is pain through their knees and joints and ankles and calves and so many other parts of their body. And they assume this means that they're just not cut out for running. Nothing could be further from the truth. You are ready to run, but you just have to adjust your training program accordingly. So rather than going out and jumping into a half marathon, let's focus on building this foundation. If you don't even know where to start, Relax Running is currently putting an 8-week running challenge together for brand new runners, people who have never run before. If you're interested in finding out more about when that is being launched, hit the link in the description to this video to get started. But don't go jumping into any half marathons without some level of foundation under those legs of yours. The second problem comes on race day. Do you remember those days at primary school when we'd go out and we'd have the cross-country race and it might be 2 kilometers and 43 kids at the start line just go out at 100% sprint, and then you get 400 meters in and 41 of them are dead and one guy manages to hold on? Well, that's still true for adults. In too many cases, you just get to the average fun run and you see this mistake time and time again. You might have had the perfect foundation. You might have put in the work. You might be ready to go, fit, healthy, and then that gun goes and you get excited and just start bolting. It's going to make it a really long day. So before you get to the start line, figure out, what time are you trying to run? Are you just trying to finish? Are you trying to run a certain time? With that, work backwards to find out what pace you should run. The beauty with a half marathon is you've got time to make up in the second half if you feel really good in the first half. It's better to start slow and work into it than it is to start like a primary school kid at cross country and just have the longest last 20 kilometers of your life. The third thing that you're going to want to be really cautious of is trialing anything new on race day. The beauty of a training block, whether it's 12, 15, 18 weeks, is that you can practice things like nutrition, hydration, clothing, shoes. You don't want to get to race day and start second guessing the decisions that you've made, or worse than that, not guessing anything and just trying something new just for the hell of it. Make sure you use your training block as the trial and error period. Practice having your race day breakfast, practice the meal the night before, practice the shoes you want to run in, the clothes you want to run in, and take notes on what feels good and what feels bad. Make sure when you get to race day, you are so confident in the gear that you have, because truth is there's enough emotions taking place on race day. You don't need to throw any more little challenges in the mix. So nothing new on race day is a really good rule of thumb for making it a far more enjoyable event. The fourth thing you want to do is be cautious with your course selection. A lot of us will go out, especially those of us who do have a little bit of a foundation under our feet of running, and say, you know what, today I want to break 1:45. I want to break 2 hours for the marathon. Training shows I can do it. My recovery shows I can do it. And then you get out there and realize, oh, the course that you've chosen is super hilly, it's super windy, it's super rainy, it's just in terrible conditions. There's certain marathons around the world that people, when they want to go and run a fast time, target, because certain courses have a reputation for being faster courses. So figure out, is your goal just to finish, or is your goal to run a particular time? They're 2 very different courses. Maybe you like the challenge of hills if you're just trying to finish, but if you're trying to go fast, figure out who's run fast on what courses near you in recent years and make that your priority when it comes to getting in the right race. The fifth thing is just setting unrealistic expectations. Truthfully, this sort of goes back to the point number one. You've got to figure out where you're really at. There's no point going out and saying, I'm going to try and run 90 minutes for this half marathon if all of your training suggests breaking 2 is going to be difficult. The other side of this coin is there's no point signing up for a marathon in a couple of weeks if you'd be better off laying down a foundation of a couple of months so the day is a little bit more enjoyable. If you can build up the strength in your legs over a longer period of time, the joy that you get through running will be far greater. You won't be as sore, you won't be as fatigued, and running becomes a lot easier to do. So clarify where you're really at in your preparation. If you don't know, speak to someone like me in the comments below. Let me know a little bit about your training or your racing or where you're at, or a mentor or coach in your area. Clarify with someone who's been in the sport a little longer than yourself what your training suggests you could run on half marathon day, and build your first one around that information. And the last thing that you want to be careful of is recovery. Post race day, you're going to be sore. A lot of these races are done on road. A lot of you would not have run 21 kilometers or 13 miles on the road before, which leaves you very susceptible to being very, very ginger the following morning. So make sure you either take a couple of days off, schedule a massage, an ice bath, a sauna, some yoga. Figure out through training how you recover best, and make sure you implement that post race day. If you can get over the race a little more easily, it means you can get back into training a little bit earlier, which means that the journey towards your next race can continue. There are so many different things that you can do on race day. These are 6 that I find really helpful, really practical, and have really helped me in my own running journey. These are pretty much things that I consider each and every time I plan a race, despite the fact I've been in the sport now for 25 or 26 years. If you've got any questions about this information, make sure you let me know. If you want a free coaching call, take advantage of that through the link in the description. But for now, happy training, guys, and I'll see you back here again next week.